we're going to look at knitting. The thing to remember about knitted cloth is it's completely different to woven cloth. It's a continuous yarn that links through. That's pretty obvious, but it'll have lots of changes of characteristics from woven cloth. There we are. So it's in a line. The yarn goes across in a line, but it's knitted, it's structured to interface with the line below. We all know about what happens when knitting unravels, but this is just a reminder. There we are. Continuous thread. You can't do that to a woven cloth. Knitted fabrics and knitted garments can vary in weight and style, but they all have one thing in common. They have three-way stretch. And what that means is that the cloth, unlike the woven cloth, stretches in all directions, horizontally, vertically, and diagonally. Let's look at some of the key cloths. This is a single jersey knit. It means that the knitting needles are very, very fine, but it's only one layer of knitting. So here we have the purl on the back and the plain on the front. Here we have a garment that's called a double knit or a rib. And so you can see that there are two sets of needles. It gives you both a plain and purl on the inside and a plain and purl on the outside. Now ribs, because you're creating that plain and purl effect and technically you're making ridges, it's automatically more elastic. But not all ribs have to be elastic. If we take the rib on a sweat, for instance, this has not got any ribs in it. It's got elastane in it which pulls it. But stylistically, this is on a hoodie. They want a plain looking material, but it's still got elastic in it. It's still got give. So there's lots of different technical fabrics in knitwear. This is a hoodie. It is in fact got a plain knit on the front, very fine, a bit like the t-shirt, but on the back we've got woven in. That means that the thread on the back, which is slightly thicker, has been just hooked into the back of the knit. And that's what makes sweatshirts. So it's double layers of cloth, but it's not got a double needle on the back. It's just yarn that's slung across and called woven yarn. This jumper, which I showed you earlier, and is very old and much loved, is a knitted fabric which is in wool. I think it's probably merino wool because it's lasted quite well, it's quite fine. But here we've got a special knitting machine which is designed to create the look of an Aran jumper. So knitting comes in a lot of varieties. We can have knitted socks. We always have knitted socks, so they stretch. And we can have knitted tops, which we wear underneath our clothes. But there's another good fact to know about knitting, and that is the way it's dyed. So here we have, again, find a clean piece, this t-shirt here. This t-shirt has been yarn dyed. That means that the colour was in the yarn before it went into production. It gives more texture. Although it's 100% cotton, you can see it's got light bits of grey, dark bits of grey, and we're often used to that. This garment here is what's called piece dyed. It means that the knitted fabric was finished and completed, and then the colour was chosen, so that the fabric was knitted up and the garment was made in that final fabric. So when you're looking at your wardrobe or at shopping for clothes, you can now start to look. Is it single knit? Is it double knit? How does it stretch? Is it yarn dyed or is it plain? And that just makes life more interesting.